Okay, so I'm going to start blocking out pieces here. And let's see, I'm looking at this one, and maybe we need to move some pieces around here. Ready? Let's go and pull this down a wee bit. Let's make this a little bit transparent so I can see what the hell I'm doing. Okay, and so up in here, you know what? This actually doesn't work here. The shoulders don't work properly, so I'm going to have to do some guessing. Yeah, because it doesn't, like, I wouldn't be able to lift my arm above my shoulder because this is blocking it here and it would have to turn, so it's kind of a bad robot design. So what I'm going to say is let's go and get another cylinder. So I'm going to go and create polygon primitives cylinder. And just pop this up here. I might even just do something like that. Okay, I just snapped it holding down V. And then I'm just going to give it a rotate holding down J. It's very small, Bob. Okay, let's do something like that. And bring this over this way a wee bit. Okay, I'm going to kind of line those up with the, I'm lining up with the bottom here. And it looks like, again, this was something that someone hand drew because they're different on both sides. So I'm just going to primarily favor this side. And I can put a subdivision here in height, put in 1. Okay, I could have inserted an edge loop as well, done the same thing. And so that gives me something a bit more interesting here. And let's just take this thing and actually, that's not what I asked for. Okay, let's do something like that. Okay, so I guess the first thing I'm going to do is start to do some fancy booleans. And so many people are scared of booleans, but don't be scared of booleans. Booleans are your friends. Okay, and actually before I do the boolean, I'm also going to think a little bit about how they're going to fit together. And around this cylinder here, around the top, I've got 8 edges. And this one here, where I'm trying to fit it in, let's see, I've only got 6 there. So I think if I go in and I break these up, so I'm going to do this thing where I grab the edge, I hold down Control, right click, edge ring and split, and do the same thing there. Okay, my life will be a bit better. Okay, because I think that's going to make cleaner booleans. So I'll just grab the 2 of them, and mesh, booleans, union. And let's just make this opaque so I can see what the hell I'm looking at. And it all came in kind of clean. There's problems here I'm going to have to clean up. Like, it always seems like you have to clean up your boolean somehow. There's going to be some cleanup. I'm just going to use the collapse feature. And here we got something else going on there. Usually I have my move tool on, so when I'm selecting components I can see if my tool is centered. So if I go in and I do the merge to center, great. And then there's some here like these 2. I'm just going to hit delete and those should go away. And I'm seeing a bit of something skanky here, so let's go and use the mesh tools, target weld. Make sure you don't have anything selected, so I usually just kind of, I'm clicking over here someplace so that nothing is selected. And there we go. And somehow it gave me some extra thing there. I'm just going to merge that over here and it gets rid of it. And I could do the same thing here. Okay, and so I go and I pull that one right over there. Now we got quads. Do the same thing on the back side. I think I'm going to go something like this. Okay. And I'm just clicking and dragging. Their target weld just automatically moves and welds my points to wherever I'm going. Something like that. And I could actually probably, I don't have to do this side, you know, to be completely honest. I'm going to go in and just get rid of half of that. And my preferred way of dealing with the body here, the torso, I just deleted the history by the way, Alt-Shift-D. Alt-Shift-D is the hotkey. I like to go into mesh. At the bottom here there's the smooth proxy, and as I'm blocking things out I kind of like a smooth on it here. I'll edit reset settings. So what do I like? I like 2. Okay, I am working in the positive X. You can see that down here in the lower corner that I'm over on the positive X side. So that means that when I have mirror behavior, I'm going to put it to half, and I'm going to make that go to negative x. And I'm going to put it on keep the current shader. And then when I hit smooth, blook, I get that. Okay. And that way you can kind of see if there's anything wacky going on. There's something kind of weird looking going on here, actually. Is there something funny going on? There is. I just went to vertex face. Vertex face is actually meant to go in and color. It's a way of coloring your vertices, putting color and light information on vertices. Okay. But I use it as a troubleshooter because I've noticed that it shows you things like this. There's a face here with zero geometry area right here. There's a funny little blue line. So that means if I go in here and maybe I grab this vertice right here, put on the freaking move tool, and if I go ahead and use that merge to center, how about this one? Actually, that was it right there. That cleaned that right up. Okay, so I didn't have to grab the other one. And this gives you kind of a nice preview of what's going to happen with your geometry. When I look on the other side, okay, as I'm blocking in, do something like that, and maybe I'll tilt it a little bit. Again, I'm looking at kind of the concept design here and the practicality of actually trying to animate this thing. And with those pieces coming down, that would make it hard to move the torso so you could bend over. We'll have to look at this a bit afterwards. But I think that looks kind of interesting right now. Okay, and then the shoulder piece, as I was mentioning earlier, I noticed that this doesn't work either. It's always funny, like, people give these little designs in and they have no idea how things really work. No one really looked and thought about this, really. That's my opinion. I'm a jerk. Okay, so we got that blocked in, and I think that looks interesting for now. I could even do something like quickly go in here to faces, and let's extrude that, and I'll just switch this and scale it, and then I'll push that in. And I think my brain is saying that's how that's going to end up looking. Okay, so that's blocked in. What do we got down here? We've got a cylinder right in here. So let's, as I'm working, I'll just delete the history on this. I'm just going to grab these faces here. And I'm just going to go in here and use Edit Mesh. And I'll do something like Duplicate Face. And by default, Duplicate Face separates the duplicated faces. When I hit Duplicate, it makes a separate piece of mesh. Oh, and it's still got a proxy on it. That's interesting. And I'm just going to delete my history. See what that does for me. Does that do anything? Okay. Does this thing still work? And I grab this and I shake it around. No, it looks like when I did duplicate face, it killed this. Okay, so maybe I'm not going to do that. Let's undo that one. If I hadn't set up my proxy, I'd be okay. So how about this way? What if I take this and I make a duplicate of it, and then I go to Control F11, and we'll just go to face mode here. Grab those faces, take all those ones and delete them. Ah, freaking annoying. Let's try it again. Grab everything. And there we go, delete. And then this is a separate piece. I'll bring this down slightly. And I'll hit extrude. And I'm just gonna... Now why did that freaking thing go to the center or something? Manipulator tool. Switch from local to global. Boop. There we go. Okay. And I just extruded that down, and I'll grab some vertice action. Remember that if you want to straighten this up now, because it looks like it's a bit more straight over here, I just grab the scale tool, I hold down J, dook, that will scale it. Okay. And I'm just going to move my pivot point right over here as I'm scaling. Okay. Whoop. Do the same thing again. Just put it to the center so when I'm scaling it goes in a bit there. Okay. It looks like this could go down a bit further. Okay. What else could I do here? So I got that piece figured out. And if I make a duplicate of this, and with that duplicate, we go in, grab those top faces, delete them, and I got these faces here to deal with. And I'll just extrude them. And I'll go down a bit. Switching from local to global. Okay, I'll get rid of these faces in the center. And looks like when I come down here, if I look at this, it looks like this is going to be some kind of cylinder as well. Okay, so it comes down here, and then there's kind of like a cylinder that comes off the side here. And almost kind of how this top one worked, I almost feel like I could duplicate this thing and flip it. If I duplicated it and flipped it, I'd have pretty much the same thing. And actually, you know what? Let's just, for the hell of it, let's do that just to show you. If I take this, make a duplicate, bring it down here, hold down J, and I rotate around 180 degrees. I scale it. Strangely enough, that's very close to what I was thinking it would be. Very close indeed. Actually, that worked out almost way too well. And so I've got this kind of hip piece that's coming in through here. I'm seeing a little bit of maybe stretched geometry around here. There. Okay. So I'm always kind of looking for cheap ways of reusing what I've got, and I just seem to have done it fairly well there. Pull this up here. Pull his underwear. And so I got something like this. Okay. And that one there looks a little bit distorted, so I'm going to pull that up a bit too. Okay. And how do I feel about any of this here? Actually, I'm just looking at this, and this just stylishly doesn't look that great, so I'm going to pull it forward a bit. Actually, something to take note of is because I'm doing... I shouldn't pull it too far forward. If I do, that puts an arch in the back, and then it becomes a bit of a problem for rigging. So, pull it back a little bit. Okay, and I just think that will look a bit better if it's a bit further forward. Okay, and anything else I got to worry about here? No. And I'm just going to take that. Before I do anything with it, I'll freeze it. And let's delete the history. This one here. Freeze it. There, get all the rotations out of it. And I'm going to go and do that proxy thing again. Mesh, proxy, subdiv proxy. The same thing here. Okay, and I'm going to end up coming back and fixing these things, but I'm just blocking them in. Blocking. Blocking in my robo underwear. Okay, and what time are we at? 13 minutes. Okay, so torso is figured out. Stylistically, I'm not sure about this thing on the top. This strikes me as kind of weird, but we'll come back and I will figure it out. Actually, if I do this too, if I go and take this too far, sorry, I'm starting to tweak a little bit, thinking and tweaking at the same time. Maybe as I take this area here, I'm going to pull that forward. I'm just going to hit B on my keyboard and put my soft selection on. If you hold down B and you middle click drag, you can go in and get the soft selection. You can change the size of your soft selection. Okay, so again, hold down B, middle click, whoop, and it will change the size of your soft selection. And I got to watch out because those vertices I selected there, they're drifting in the center, so I got to, oh, I screwed up. I'll turn off soft selection, then I'll go back and I'll grab these vertices in the center, hold down X, and And then we got another problem here. My retain component spacing is on my freaking move tool, and the move snap options, I hate this thing. Okay, I want it every once in a while. I don't want it on constantly. And if you hold down X without that on, you get it snapped in the center there. Also the shortcut, if you hold down W and you left click and you hold it down, you'll find keep spacing is right there. Easy to find and get rid of. That's the shortcut to all your move tool settings. Fast. It's fast, fast, fast. Okay. And so we got the torso in, and let's see, what do we go down to the legs? So the legs, and maybe I'll stop right around here, and I will start to block in the legs next video. So stop.